Man, I don't know about you, but this weekend left me with that weird feeling NASCAR sometimes gives you, like something bigger is going on behind the scenes. Because on the surface, it looked like just another race weekend. Some chaos, some mistakes, the usual Bristol madness, but when you start digging a little deeper, things don't feel that simple. We've got two major stories coming out of this race, and trust me, both of them hit in completely different ways. One of them might actually change how you look at penalties and inspections this season, and the other brings a whole new level of tension that could shake things up going forward. And if you're a real NASCAR fan, you already know when stuff like this starts stacking up, it usually means something bigger is brewing. So, before we jump into it real quick, if you're into NASCAR like I am, watching every weekend, following every storyline, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. This channel is brand new. We're trying to reach 1,000 subs, and it's all about real fans talking real NASCAR. Alright, let's get into the first story. So, let's get into what actually went down at Bristol Motor Speedway. Because even though it looked clean on paper, there was a lot happening behind the scenes. First off, let's talk about the big names that got attention right after the race. Kyle Larson and Tyler Reddick. Both of their cars were sent to NASCAR's R&D Center in Concord, North Carolina. If you have been watching NASCAR for a while, you already know. Sometimes that is routine, but other times it raises questions. It usually means NASCAR either saw something, suspected something, or just wants a deeper look at teams that are performing at a high level. And both of those guys have been fast. So, naturally, fans started wondering if something was going on. But here is the key part. After tearing both cars completely down, NASCAR found nothing wrong. Both cars were cleared. No penalties, no violations, completely good to go heading into Kansas. So, from a technical standpoint, everything is clean. But that was just one part of the story, because before the race even started, things were already messy. Pre-race inspection has been a problem all season, and Bristol was no different. 5 teams were penalized: Kyle Larson, Michael McDowell, Ross Chastain, Cole Custer, and Chad Fincham. Most of them lost their car chiefs in pit selection, which at a place like Bristol is a huge deal. Track position there means everything. The only exception was McDowell, who lost his engineer. So before the green flag even dropped, some teams were already in trouble. Then during the race, more issues showed up. Pit road penalties stacked up. Drivers caught speeding included Christopher Bell, Chase Briscoe, John Hunter Nychek, Tyler Reddick, and Brad Keselowski. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. had a safety violation. Michael McDowell had too many crew members over the wall on lap 255. Zane Smith was penalized for equipment interference on lap 131. So, this race was far from clean when you really break it down. And over in the Truck Series, we had another moment that got people talking. Christian Eckes made contact with Corey Haheim late in the race, if you remember their history from the 2024 Truck Series Championship fight. You know there is tension there. Eckes clipped him going into turn 1 and sent him into the wall. Fans immediately started debating if it was intentional. NASCAR talked to Eckes, but no penalty was given, so officially, no major punishments after Bristol. But when you look at everything together, inspections, penalties, and incidents, it definitely felt like NASCAR was watching a lot of teams very closely. And that brings us to the second story. Because one of those penalties changed everything for one driver, Tyler Reddick. After the race, he did not hold back. He said the speeding penalty on pit road completely ruined their race, and if you know Bristol, you understand exactly why. He explained that at a place like Bristol, one mistake puts you in a hole you cannot recover from. Before the penalty, he had a fast car and was running near the front. After serving the penalty, he dropped deep in the field, lost track position, and got stuck in heavy traffic. And once you are back there at Bristol, it is almost impossible to recover. You lose rhythm and fall out of contention. But he did not stop there. Reddick also spoke about NASCAR itself. He pointed out that with 4 wins in the last 7 races, it feels like his team, 23WX Racing, is being watched more closely than others. He said their car keeps getting pulled for deeper inspections week after week. He made it clear that he understands NASCAR is doing its job, but at the same time, it is starting to feel excessive. He even suggested that when a team starts winning this much, things change, and sometimes it feels like NASCAR is trying to balance things out. That is a strong statement. After Bristol, his car was again sent to the R&D center, and once again, no issues were found. So officially, everything is legal. But from a driver perspective, you can understand the frustration. When you are winning, building momentum, and then dealing with penalties and constant inspections, it can start to affect everything. And now this adds a whole new layer to the championship, because Reddick is not just fast right now, he is becoming one of the biggest storylines in NASCAR, both on and off the track. As a fan, this is the kind of tension that makes a season exciting. Now, there are real questions. Is this just normal procedure, or are certain teams getting more attention? Either way, heading into the next race, all eyes are going to be on that team. Bristol may not have handed out major penalties after the race, but it definitely gave us something bigger to watch moving forward, and that is what makes this sport so good. If you are following all of this, I want to hear your opinion. Do you think NASCAR is just doing its job, or does it feel like some teams are being watched more closely? Honestly, my take as a fan is this: NASCAR is doing its job, but at the same time, it is impossible to ignore the pattern. When a driver like Tyler Reddick starts winning at that level, 4 wins in the last 7 races, you are naturally going to get more attention. That is normal. Every dominant car in NASCAR history has gone through that phase where officials take a closer look. But here is where it gets interesting. Even with all that attention, all the extra inspections, and even sending the car multiple times to the R&D center, they are still coming up clean every single time. So, from a rules standpoint, 23X New Racing is doing everything right. Now, on the penalty side, especially that speeding penalty at Bristol, I do not think NASCAR did anything wrong there either. Pit road speeding is black and white. You either go over the limit, or you do not. And, at a track like Bristol, that mistake is brutal. But I do understand Reddick's frustration, because when you combine a race-ruining penalty with constant inspections, it starts to feel like everything is stacking against you, even if technically it is all fair. And that is what makes this situation so real and so interesting. Because both things can be true at the same time. NASCAR can be enforcing the rules correctly, and the driver can still feel like the pressure is getting heavier, week after week. As for the first story with all the penalties and inspections at Bristol Motor Speedway, to me it shows something bigger. NASCAR is being extra strict this season. Pre-race inspection issues, pit road penalties, constant monitoring, it feels like the margin for error is smaller than ever. So overall, my honest opinion is this: nothing illegal is happening, but the intensity from NASCAR right now is definitely higher, and drivers are starting to feel it. And if Reddick keeps performing like this tension is only going to grow as we get closer to the playoffs. That is where things could really get interesting. Leave your comment, hit the like button if you enjoyed this. And if you are a real NASCAR fan who likes honest opinions, subscribe to NASCAR Nation. The channel is new. We are pushing toward 1,000 subscribers, and this is the place for real fans talking about what is really happening in NASCAR. And honestly, after everything we just saw, it feels like we are only at the beginning of something bigger. Bristol gave us a race that looks normal on the surface, but behind it, we saw inspections, multiple penalties, and drivers clearly feeling the pressure. At the same time, one of the hottest drivers in the sport is starting to question how things are being handled, even after being cleared with no issues. So now the big question is not just about what happened, it is about what comes next. Because if this tension keeps building, if the inspections keep happening, and if drivers keep speaking out, we could be heading into a really intense stretch of the season. And as fans, you know we are going to be watching every single lap of it.